Hello, this is Susan here. I'm just going to show you how I'm just going to make some bias binding for a project that I'm making, and I'm just going to show you how I do that. So I've got this really nice Cath Kidston fabric. I'm just going to turn it the wrong side facing down, and because I want to sort of cut it on the bias, I can't just cut strips. Otherwise it'll have no stretch. So the bias is when you're stretching it this way. So it has the stretch. So what I'm going to do is I've got this rectangle piece here. So I'm just going to cut, I'm just going to fold these triangle bits down like this. Turn it round. And then I'm going to fold it again like this. So I've got this like this. And fold again. So I'm going to start off with being brave and just cutting straight the way down the middle of this with my fabric scissors. There we go. And then I'm going to want about a 2-inch. Get the ruler the right way. So I'm looking to do 2-inch strips. I might go 2.5 just to be on the safe side. So let me just get my marker. So I have got a fabric marker here. I'm just going to mark that there. And I'm just going to find my mark that is there. You can put a ruler, but I'm just sort of eyeballing it. So that's my first one. So then my next one's there. Next one's there. Next one's there. Right. Just make all my marks. This is a marker that takes comes off when you iron it. That's that one. That one, if I'm not going off camera, and I'll just do this one. I don't know if I'll get much out of this one, but right, keep on my little scraps. So now I'll do that one in a sec. So there we go, I've got my strip. Move that out of the way and that out of the way. You can see I've got my strip there. Strip there, and there's all my strips. So to make bias binding, now it's all stretchy, so what I would need to do, move them out of the way, to make it into one continuous strip, I need to make sort of a backward L. So I can get my pins and pin that. Get my pins here. And then I'm going to sew it along, and then eventually it will strip out like that. I'll come back and show you when I've done that, okay? So now I've sewn that bit there. So when I open it up, it should be one continuous strip. So what I just want to do here, I just want to trim off these triangle bits here. Throw them away. Do it the same the other side. And then I'm just going to trim this down just a little bit here, so it's not such a bulky seam. So then when I lay that out, that should be like that. So what I want to do now, get my iron, and then I'm just going to press that seam open, flip it over, and then I've got my bit there. So that makes it one continuous strip. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the rest of them to make it to the size of the project that I'm using. And then once I've done that, I will show you how I'm going to attach my bias binding to the project that I'm making. Okay, so now I've got one continuous long strip. I need to just iron it so I can make some biased bits. I know it's a bit wobbly, but I'm not too worried about that because they'll be hidden. So first of all, I'm just gonna, you can see I get it in the right position. I'm gonna fold that in half all the way along, and I'm just gonna iron. And keep going with the iron all the way down. So get that crease mark. And just keep. So I've just folded it into each other. Now I'm folding it over to meet each other, and then I'm just ironing it down. So it makes a nice crease line in the middle again. And then that joins, and then that will be my bias tape ready for my project. So this is the project that I want the bias tape for. I decided to make myself a cross stitch case. So basically I love doing cross stitch, and I go to a little craft group, and I wanted to be able to take it there without having to put everything in a carrier bag. I wanted to be able to put it in one place. So I made this little case. It's the first time I've made it, and it's been a learning curve, but I'm getting there. I just got to put the bias tape on it now. So basically I cross stitched a strip. I've got a Catherine Kitch book with cross stitch patterns in, so I did that. I thought it was quite fitting for a cross stitch case. I also wanted to have a go at a bit of embroidery, so I really loved this fabric, and I decided I would embroider some of it. So I've practiced, I don't know if you can see there, I've got my craft light's a bit glary. Let's just turn that off. That's better. So I've got Brilliant Roses here, and I've just done some knots there. Just some basic stitches that I've been practicing there. So that is the front of the case. And then when you go into this bit here, so I've got big pocket here for my hoops. I did a zip pocket there, and I've put vinyl. I've got a bit brave and put vinyl there. Oops, I've got some loose cottons that I need to cut, which I'll do afterwards. I've got a ribbon bit there to hold my scissors, so I could literally loop my scissors onto them, and then they would go in the pockets there. So that's why that loop is there. Just helps me out. I'll take that off after. I've got a big pocket here, a bigger pocket here, and I've got little pockets here, and I've also got a little thing for pen holder. I've got a magnet bit here so I can just put my needles on, and I've got a little flat bit here that I can put needles and stuff on as well. So that's my project. And I made this board. I've got a little bingo board that I think I bought for like 50 pence or £1, and I decoupaged it with some really beautiful napkins that I had. I think I had that on my page before, and basically it's so I can put my patterns on it, and then the patterns, this just fits quite nicely inside that pocket. So I'm quite pleased with it, and I just need to show you how to do the binding on it. So to start with, I'm going to get my bias strip. So you see we got the bias strips here like this. So I'm going to start sort of halfway through. I'm going to use clips rather than pins because I've got quite thick material and some of it's got vinyl. So I'm going to clip here. This is probably where I'll start. I'm going to leave a bit of a towel, and I'm just going to clip it all the way round. So when I come to the corners, I'm just going to turn that round. I'm literally going to, when I do the corners, I'll mitre it there, but I'm just going to fold it like that for now. And I'm just going to clip everything together before I start sewing, so then I know where I am. So with the ribbon, it is going to sort of be underneath, but it'll be flat to there, so that's why I've put the ribbon on first. I'm just going to clip all them along, turn it around. So when you come to the corners, when I do the mitering, I need to do sort of a mitre corner. So I need to do like a triangle-y bit and then clip that there. I do love these little clips. Here, so. I don't want to make sure it's too stretched. So what I usually do is I will sew the first bit with the machine, and then I like to, when I bring the binding over, because what will happen was, once this is all sewn down here, I'll bring that over to the other side, and that will cover that like that. I like to tend to hand sew it. I have machine sewn it in the past, but I find sometimes it doesn't always line up with the other side. So I think I'm just going to do the way I feel more comfortable with and hand sew it, because I do like a bit of hand sewing as well. It's probably why I like cross stitch and embroidery. So I'm just going to mitre that corner again. So you're basically bringing it up and bringing it up to there. So get another clip. I'll show you close up in a minute once I've done all this. Oh, clip it to the whole thing would be a good idea. And I've really taken my time doing this project because I wanted to design it so it has pockets that I want on there, the way I want the layout, and I wanted to do the embroidery as well. So this project's kind of taken me a bit of time to do, but I think sometimes it's worth it in the end. So I'm just going to bring that up like that. And then I've got, clip that to that. And then I've basically got this really, really long tail, but that's fine. I will show you what I'm going to do with that. I'm not going to, actually I should cut it just to get it out of the way, because it's a long bit. I'm just going to cut it longish to there, just to get that long bit out of the way. And then that's me ready to start. So what I'm gonna do is, I'll probably do it off camera, but I'm gonna sew all along this first crease line. I'll bring it up to the camera a bit more. You can see there's the first crease line. So I'm just gonna literally sew all the way around. I'll start here, and what I'll do is when I get to this bit, I'll come back to camera and I'll show you how I'm gonna do those bits. And I'll also show you how I'm gonna miter the corners. So I'll come back to you in a second, okay? Okay, so I'm just coming to the mitered corner. So what I'm going to do here, I'll even use a pencil. I've got my needle down. I'm just going to lift that up. I'm trying to lift it up without getting into camera shot. I'm lift the needle up with the needle down, and I'm just going to see where the corner is there. Just going to sort of use a pencil to try and... Whoop. No one's going to see the pencil line, so that's fine. Use a pencil to draw a line that goes out there. I'm hoping you can see that. Let me just use the camera. You can see that at all. Excuse my big hand. Right. Just trying to get the right angle. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to drop it down again. Let's just drop that down. And then I'm just going to sew to this bit here. Move that round without knocking the camera over or anything else over, and I'm literally going to put that back down and I'm going to do a bit of a back stitch there and then just bring that off. So just to show you close up, what I've done here is I've gone down and I've done the mitered corners you saw me do a moment ago. And then I'm just going to put my needle back in and then come forward. So I want to do a back stitch to start off with. And then I'm going to go all the way to the end and I'll show you the finished project in a moment. So I've now sewn all around the little mitered corners, as you can see. They're nice and neat once I push it over, but before I do that I've come to this bit here, so I need to kind of sew that in and I need to get this ribbon out of the way. So basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a line. So I'm going to just use my erasable pen thing here, and then I'm going to get this, I'm going to line it up against there. And you can kind of see through this material a little bit. So it's sort of there. So I'm going to get my ruler. And I'm going to just line that up like that. So what I'm going to do now. So I use this line and this line and I'm going to line that up. I'm just going to get a pin. Pin it together. Easy when I do it to the sewing machine. And then I'm going to take it to my sewing machine and I'm just going to literally, away from there, just sew the two lines together, and then I'll come back and show you how that worked. So that is all done. So now I'm just going to turn these over and you'll see that I've got my crisp mitered corners there. One that side, one that side, and one that side. So now I'm going to go to the front. So I need to remember to keep them out like that. And then I'm going to get my clips. And I'm going to clip it. Clip it on. So what I'm trying to do here is I'm going to hide all this stitching that's along there, and the reason I hand sew it is if I sort of show you here, sorry I was out of camera range, and show you there, if I was to sew it there you'd see the sew line there. So that's why I like to hand sew it, so I can at least control it and I'm not going to go to the bottom of the project. And then what I'm going to do with the corners here, where's my corner gone? I'm going to manipulate it. There's a bit of a bulk of material here, so which is obstructing me. So I'm just going to snip that off because it's in my way. So then there I should have my mitered corner there, and I'm going to have that going over there. And I can kind of sort out these corners as I go along. Clip that there. And as I go down, might have to bring some of the material out to cover those stitch lines. I keep that flat. But this is another reason I like to hand stitch, because then I can sort of use it for my, rather than, I can control it better by hand than doing it in the machine. And then I've got So once I've done this all the way round, it's just getting those corners to sit flat. So you should have a good corner and a good corner there. So once I've done all that and I start hand sewing, I'll just show you a little bit of the hand sewing, and then I will show you when the project is finished. So I will briefly show you how I hand stitch the bias binding on the front. So I've now pinned it and everything else. And let me stick this on. Okay. So what I've done here, just take that, because I don't really want the ribbon to be going this way, I want it to go that way, so when we tie it up, so I'm going to kind of tie, sew the ribbon so it's going that way. So I always put my needle with double thread just to make it a bit stronger, and I'm just going to go from this side and up through the ribbon bit, and that just hides the knot at the back. So just gonna hold that there in my hand and try and get closer to the camera. So because I want to kind of hide those stitches, I want to take a little bit of the bottom fabric, catch that with my needle. It's kind of like ladder stitch really. Well, it isn't kind of like, it is ladder stitch. And I just go in here, go along, just make sure the tails and that of that knot is hidden. Just pick up. This material is quite tough as well because I've actually put back in on the inside. I've put like a fusible fleece to make it a little bit stiffer. And then I'm just going to go all the way along, kind of just sewing the two bits down together and just making sure that it hides those little stitch lines as I go. And I'm doing it in the pink, in the pale pink, just to try and hide the stitches. So you can see there, let me turn that off, it's a bit glary. You can see that you can't really see the stitches at all. So I'm going to do that all the way round, and when I'm finished I will show you what it looks like when it's all finished. So this is my folder now finished. It's all been hand stitched on the bias binding, and this is how it looks, and I've put some stuff in it now. So open up the ribbon. So inside I've got some of my cottons that I need for my project. My project is in here that I'm currently working on. I've got my clipboard in here with my pattern on it. Got my scissors that go in there, a pen, my highlighter that I use, and I've got just a couple of needles. So I've got a needle on here and a needle on the magnet. And that is my little project. I'm really pleased with it. It's taken time, but it's worth it.